Alright guys, I did a video previously on the Pencott patterns. It was just kind of an intro video to introduce you to the pattern in case you weren't familiar with them, give you a little preview of what they look like, etc. Like I said in that video, I've been a fan of the Pencott patterns for a long time. The problem that we've faced has been a lack of availability in clothing and gear. Not so much the gear, because like I mentioned in the other video, over at my company, UW Gear, I'm doing my gear in the Pencott patterns. Tactical Tailor is. So you got a couple of good options right there. But the clothing has been a lot more of an issue. And I mentioned in the other video previously that that was one of the things that looked like it was on the verge of changing. So with that said, I wanted to do a follow-up video and show you a couple of things which you already know is available. You've already seen it in other videos, but I wanted to do something specifically on the Pencott stuff. There are some things available now, and I am being told from folks in the know that there is more stuff supposed to be coming online later this year. Now, why bother with showing you all this? Well, I like the multicam patterns a lot. Okay, I think they're functional, they work good, and one of the things that I like even more so about multicam now versus in previous years is that multicam came out with their tropic and arid, which gives you more environmentally specific patterns that you can tailor to your area. Again, Pencott was doing that even before multicam was. We just couldn't really get it here without going overseas. Pencott gives you that same option. You've got, your green zone, your Badlands, and your sandstorm, and the Snowdrift as well for the snow pattern, just like the Alpine and the multicam. Well, why am I bringing all that up, Randall? Because I think it's important for our purposes and our use in what we obviously are discussing here on my channel, non-military role, just the armed prepared citizen, etc. Having a camouflage pattern that's more focused on the environment that you're most likely going to find yourself in for your area, I think is a really good option. There are also times when you may need something that can cross over. I like options, okay? I like options within options. And I think the Pencott family brings just that, a family of options to the table that work really, really, really well. One thing that I've heard guys say that they don't like about things like multicam is that they don't like the military tie-in that it has. I don't necessarily buy into that, but I can understand it and see it. Okay, just like there's guys that don't like woodland for previous military tie-ins and other perceived stigmatisms and stuff assigned to it. Again, talking in the role of the the average prepared armed citizen. So what I want to do in this video is go ahead and show you more than what I did in the previous one with just some little material swatches. I want to kind of show you what a full suite of the Pencott patterns look like. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in, and I'll just try to hit briefly on each one without dragging it out too long. This isn't going to be a dedicated review per se. I want to just introduce you to the patterns, to the family, let you get an idea of what they look like, give you a few thoughts on them, and then we'll actually get out and do some testing like I've done with the other stuff before, outside and not just here in the workshop. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. All right, first up, for you guys out in the desert areas, Midwest areas, arid areas, this is the Pencott sandstorm pattern. Okay, the top right here is a 0241 tactical top jacket, which is a great upper garment in and of itself. It'll work really well with solid coyote stuff or khaki stuff. So until some pants actually come online, you could easily run a pair of like the coyote brown or khaki true spec pants, just a plain pair of khaki or brown BDU pants. Anything like that would work well in conjunction with the top. I'll come in a little closer. This is one of my UW gear chest rigs in Pencott. You'll notice the coyote brown works really well with it. From a distance, it all just kind of blends in together. This is probably one of my favorite arid patterns. So for you guys out Midwestern areas, this I think is a really good option. Just having this top alone available, like I said, coupled with some solid color pants, is 65% of the equation right there in my book. So at this point, I have to be able to say, hey, this is a viable recommendation for your consideration. As far as other gear goes, until you can find more gear come online, fortunately, solid coyote gear, such as tactical tailored packs, that sort of thing. Solid coyote works with it. It doesn't detract from the pattern. It'll still work everywhere that the pattern does, as would khaki or tan gear, something like that. An interesting little experiment that I'm probably going to show you guys at some point down the road. You can actually use some of these arid patterns in more places than you would think. They're not just for the desert or just for arid areas. But that, as they say, is a video for another time. So let's move on to the next one. Next up is the Badlands pattern. Badlands could kind of be considered like a transitional pattern, kind of like what multicam is to multicam tropic, multicam arid. The Badlands is kind of the same thing to the green zone and the sandstorm. So it's a really good transitional pattern, intermediate pattern, etc. Again, 241 tactical top jacket and one of my UW gear chest rigs. Until pants and other things are available, again, coyote brown pants work really well with this. So with just like a general brownish pair of pants. This pattern will work really well in the winter time in a lot of areas in much of the continental U.S. It also works really well, believe it or not, in urban areas due to the way the coloration and stuff work in it. So I'll give you a little bit of a closer view. And again, trying to show you more depth and dimension with the clothing and gear on than what just the fabric samples that I showed you in the previous video. Hopefully this gives a little more depth and such to it. Again, until you can find otherwise, plain old standard coyote gear works really well with the Badlands stuff. I mean, coyote is just a natural fit for it. So no worries there on trying to get gear, as I'm sure stuff will continue coming out. But if you want to get set up right now, that's always an option. So let's go on to the next one. All right, last but not least, the Venerable green zone pattern. Obviously this one's more of a wooded pattern, temperate pattern, that sort of thing. Don't let the colors fool you. This stuff really has a crazy chameleon effect depending on the kind of woodland environment that you're in. I don't think there's too many places in North America that this stuff doesn't work really well. Again, just try to give you a little three-dimensional view. My chest rigs, the 241 Tactical Tops jacket, okay? And yes, I got all three because I wanted to have all three to use, and I think they're just a great option. So yeah, shameless plug there, I like them. Again, you could use, until pants and stuff get online, you could use OD green pants. That probably work best. Coyote will kind of work with it actually, because a little bit of brown in it. Either way, you can go and you'll be all right. Just to show you, I went and stole my son's OD green tactical tailor bag. Don't tell him I stole this. I got to get it back in there in his room before he notices that it's gone. But OD green will work. Okay, it's not as good as maybe pattern matched. You might want to replace some of the black hardware on any OD gear that you get to maybe green or brown buckles just to offset a little bit. But regardless, it'll still work just fine with it. So this is the Pencott green zone. Green zone's probably one of my, if I had to rank them in order, I'd probably rank them for my area, green zone, then Badlands right behind it. I think the green zone just works really, really well. I've already had it out in the woods in past years, and I know what it'll do. I got to get a little bit more time in with the Badlands and play around with some stuff there. But I know for a fact the green zone works really well. One of the things I'm thinking about is I might try to do, if there's enough interest among you guys, I might do a head-to-head, side-by-side comparison of, say, multicam Tropic and green zone, multicam and Badlands, and multicam Arid and Sandstorm, just to give you a good comparison. Because I think right now those are probably my two favorite families of patterns. So keeping this one on point, again, this is the green zone pattern. If everything comes to fruition that I'm being told, guys, there's going to be plenty of stuff available in the Pencott patterns. And the reason I keep bringing that is I think it's really important, as you've seen from my patrol series videos and etc., that in your preps you plan for your security and stuff. And part of that security is your clothing and being concealed. And I want to recommend what I feel is the best concealment options to you guys. I think the Pencott family ranks right up there at the top with Multicam family and others. It doesn't give away anything. It's tied at the top as far as effectiveness, as far as I'm concerned. If the Multicam family is what you prefer and like, hey, rock out with it. If you want something a little different that's equally as effective, just coming from a different direction, check out the Pencott stuff. Now, I've done plenty of videos in the woods of just the multicam. I've showed you all that. So I want to do equal share with Pencott. And then obviously, as with everything, you can view it, you can draw your own conclusions, form your own opinions, and drive on from there. So, that all said, this is the Pencott family of patterns, and I will close it out on that. I don't want to drag this out any longer than it already is. Again, just wanted to show you the clothing on me versus just holding up, pieces of Cordura for you to look at. It looks a little different when it's actually made into stuff. So, on that note, This is the Pencott family. Take care, guys. Stay safe. Keep preparing, and we will catch you in the next one.